Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Morning Coffees with James. I'm James, and this show you're watching on Instagram, BitChute, and YouTube. Welcome. And of those who are watching it on Instagram, please subscribe to or follow me on there at Morning Coffees with James. On BitChute, please follow me at Conley Bros Production. It's underscores between those words. And follow me and subscribe to me on YouTube before YouTube decides, hey, I'm not valuable anymore. And I never was. So, because they don't see any money coming from me. So, anyway. Recently I want to talk about something that's been going on in California. And something that's been kind of been a controversial incident. Here's the thing, and I'm going to say this up front. I try not to put out fake news. This is an opinion piece show. A show in... hold on, I'm going to try to look up the map. Show on my channel. Like, a lot of people are like, well, you know, you got to get your facts together and you got to talk about this and it's good and this and this and this and this and this. And it's like, I don't have the fucking time and energy because I work a day job, by the way. Two, I look at several videos about this and I try to update the videos too when they come out. But this, I really have to talk about this because this is some bizarre incidences that it's happening in America right now. And one of the things, like, I'm going to be honest with you, we are in a civil war that's heating up, and I know people are kind of freaked out about this. Hell, my mom's freaked out about this, but I'm not freaking out about it. I'm not scared anymore. And frankly, because it's like, one, I'm not going to be threatened anymore. Hell, I mean, we're under attack by a lot of things. Like, hell, on the West Coast, we have, on the East Coast, we have the lanternflies that are, they don't harm people. They harm our foliages and, you know, they harm our crops and stuff like that. So it's like, oh crap, we got to fix this. We also got hurricanes, snowstorms, and stuff like that. We've got a lot of bad things that happen. But out in the West Coast, where it's mostly dry, there's a bunch of wildfires that are happening out there. And especially in the Colorado, like, it's happening in Denver, Colorado. It's happening in Wyoming, Montana. It's happening on our West Coast areas. Like, everything west of, everything west of the Mississippi. So, like, everything from, like, New Mexico to Montana, like, basically, like, everything where Texas and New Mexico meet. So, or is it Arizona? Yeah, Arizona, I think. There's a lot of wildfires happening over there. Like, a lot. And a lot of people want to keep using the obvious things that, you know, when shit like this happens, it's climate change, climate change. And honestly, I'm not buying the bullshit anymore because, you know, because that whole thing about climate change and the whole thing about, like, their solution is to tax it or introduce socialism, which is, like, not a scientifically valid thing. It really isn't. It's like, so you're, you know, all right, suggesting that we do find alternative methods for, you know, fuel, okay, fine, wind and power, you know, wind and solar, but we end up having to use the other stuff too that nobody likes, like coal or nuclear, which, by the way, is not as bad as people make it out to be. Yes, there is drawbacks. You have the nuclear waste that you don't know where to put it. I suggest we could just start launching it into the sun. But, you know, looking at them, like, but honestly, I don't really buy it because, and also the fact that, like, there's been rumors and stories about other things too that have been going on about this, like, and honestly, I'm just so done with people's stupidity about this. And also, like, some there's some suspect things about these incidences that are happening. One of them is basically, and I know I'm gonna get into an argument with a lot of people, or I'm gonna get, like, a lot of dislikes and not, you know, get invited to the parties, but I feel like I'm going to talk about an obvious thing that's happening with this, and that is, one, I don't think it's climate change. I think that's, like, God, that goddamn dog. That's my dog down there. She's barking. Don't worry. somebody's taking care of her. But there's a lot of fires happening out there, and a lot of people are going to point the finger at climate change without doing any real research and really kind of looking at it. And look, I get it. There's, the reason why there's like a lot like the wildfires happen is the fact that like even like fire, even like park rangers have to start these to, clear out the old bush and kind of like destroy the old stuff so the new stuff can grow. But also there's a lot of other things that can help prevent this, and a lot of like people don't understand like how this works is that you got to build a fire break. Like the reason why there's like like a big open field is the fact that like, or better yet, like fire break is basically like, how would I put this, like you build something like I'm gonna have to Google this, but or excuse me, Bing it, because I'm not using Google anymore because Google is evil. I'm not gonna lie about that. A fire break is an obstacle to spread of fire, such as like a strip of open space in a forest. So basically, I'll show you the image on here. So when we see this, so basically like there's like an open space that that separates the forest from like a farmland or another area that is like wilderness, and you've seen it before. And honestly, Donald Trump has talked about this, like clear pathways that are just kind of open and large strips of land that like kind of separate everything. They kind of look like pathways, but they're really like they're meant there for making sure that the fire, like the forest doesn't go up in flames. And a lot of like people like shit on Donald Trump. It was like, oh well, it's climate change. It's like, no, it's the lack that you have no knowledge in fire safety and how fires work, and wilderness conservation too. Like, look this up. If you don't believe me, look up fire breaks, and I'll tell you this much: a lot of that has been saved, and from the looks of it, you can save a lot of environments, because of this. And yeah, wildfires do happen, but a lot of people try to prevent it as well. And what's been happening in Colorado, like on the West Coast and the Midwest Coast, is it basically seems unnatural, because I've been hearing stories and reports of people who seen fires break out and people running from fires and stuff like that, and people throwing Molotov cocktails. I mean, granted, I'm getting into an argument with a dude on Facebook about this, and to be honest, I'm just so done trying to like open people's eyes or just present an idea or a fact yeah, I know I'm getting challenged. It's like that, and that's not the point. Like, I don't mind when someone has to speculate, avert that, but don't just go to your easy answer of, it's climate change. It's like, climate change is such an easy answer, and it's not always like a negative when that happens. Like, for example, before all this even happened, there was like a story that came out that Death Valley, if that, I think it's in Nevada or like Arizona, Death Valley started springing life. And I really do think our planet's going through a change where like the normal like system is no longer there, and it's starting to change. Like, I feel like the West Coast the East Coast is getting a little bit warmer. If you really look at like last year, we didn't really have like a cold winter. I mean, like for those people who were living up north, you got snow in April, but then again, it wasn't like dead frost and all that. It was kind of cool. It was like more of like air conditioned weather. You know what I mean? Like, and what I mean that is that what I mean is like, I'm not talking about summer heat where you have to just turn on the air conditioning. I mean, it was like cool. It was like a mild like coldness, but it wasn't like, ooh, it's cold. It's like, ooh, it's just brisk. But no, and again, I really do think this is man-made, and I don't think it's from people with the gender reveal parties. That honestly, I'm gonna have to talk about Trevor Noah for a second, because he's a dumbass, and I'm tired of. I'm really sick of British people talking about our culture and lifestyle, and that includes John Oliver and fucking anybody. I'll talk about that in just a moment, but honestly, this kind of is something we need to discuss, and something that's been kind of going on recently. I mean, people, this seems unnatural, and this is not. I don't think this is climate change whatsoever. I mean, I feel like this is something that's been happening, man-made, and I don't think it's. People want to blame it on white supremacy. When something bad happens, it's like they don't want to blame the obvious people. Like, People want to. I think it's environmental terrorists and Antifa that are doing this. Now, I know people out there. It's like, oh, that's easy. And Antifa's such a broad. Like, again, that was like one of the arguments I got with in some argument with somebody, that it was just, oh, that's a broad definition. It's like such a blanket statement. It's like, no, I really do think it is Antifa that's doing this, because they've been known to set fires to buildings. They've been known to set fires to places and stuff like that. And granted, like, it could have not been them. It could be a separate organization that's trying to push the climate change agenda. But I'm looking at, if you look at the map here, it looks like it looks like most of Vancouver and also Canada doesn't seem that affected. Like, it just seems like it's mostly in the United States, and it looks like this seems like an attack on us. Like, usually, like, fires like this don't spread that quickly to, like, cities and state, like, other, like, places around us, like cities and states. Like, it doesn't seem like it affects California. Like, look, I know this happens, like, in California and on the West Coast a lot because of the dryness, and lack of rain. But it just seems like there's a lot, like, there seems like to be something going on. And there's been just reports and stories of, like, people using Molotov cocktails and people promoting that they've been starting fires and stuff like that and all this. And I really do think that it is arsonists. I really do. And there's been reports of people coming out saying, yes, it is arsonists. And I do think it is Antifa or a environmental terrorist group, or the same group that is doing environmental terrorism. It is something that is something that's been going on recently, and I think, I do think it is Antifa, because they've been known to cause riots and fires and stuff like that, and people kind of ignore it until it hits them in the face, and it's like, oh shit, this is a problem. No fucking shit. Welcome to the party, pal, as John McClane would say. And give me a second. All right. Actually, no. This is actually a better map of this. I can see clearly now. But I'm looking at this, and it seems like all of California is on fire. All of it. And I do think it is arson. Nonetheless, I do think it's arson, because it's like, and again, when you do mention this, they also mention the. They do mention arson. They do mention the gender reveal parties, and I honestly think that has nothing to do with it. And I know people on, like, different sides have been making jokes about it, and it's like, the Mulan one, now everybody will know it's a boy. And you know what? I kind of see that as a rebellion towards the gender spectrum argument. Gender is a spectrum, not biology. It's like, no, it is. It's there's only two fucking genders. Shut up. And I will discuss this now, because I want to. Hold on. I do think that's an easy story to go off on, that it is the blame of a gender reveal party, and I feel like that's another, like, agenda driven thing right there, another, like, narrative that they're pushing. It's like, if you watch that Trevor Noah thing, he was like, oh, it's, great, great, you had a gender reveal party, and how outdated that is, and it's like, gender is such a spectrum, and blah blah blah, the child should choose. And it's like, Noah, shut the fuck up. This has nothing to do with your agenda. There's people's lives losing. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm tired of listening to British people talk about our fucking country. Like, I'm so fucking done with British people bad-mouthing our country and like, every foreigner out there, it's like talking about how bad America is. It's like, I'm sorry, but I've talked to people from Brazil. Like, there's other fucking problems in other countries too, way worse than our country, all right? I'm sorry if Donald Trump is an asshole, all right? But we need an asshole in charge right about now. Tough fucking shit. I'm tired of people fucking getting upset about this shit. And the fact that, granted, just because someone has a British accent doesn't mean, they're highly intelligent. Like, I'm gonna do. I'm throwing fucking Milo under that bus too, because Milo is another one of those guys. But at least with Milo, he fucking has, like, some ideas to talk about, and I have to praise Milo, because he was one of those guys who was kind of on the forefront of speaking out against the cultural cancer that is the SJW movement and the progressive movement. I mean, he was a gay conservative Christian, and it basically just, shattered the whole mindset. It woke people. That was the big red pilling, I think, for a lot of people. Like, one of the big red pilling moments. Even for me, I knew some gay conservatives too. That they were promoting Donald Trump, and I found out later that they were gay, and it kind of shook me, basically awakened me. That was my red pilling. Like, wait a minute, why are you Republican? They don't really like gay people, and I guess, and that's the whole thing about that. But I will talk about that in just another video, because I do want to talk about the fact that gay men are fighting for men's rights better than, say, straight men, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But this is the thing I'm talking. It is straight up arson. And there's been reports of people talking about arson and stuff like that. And I will put the links. I will put links in the video down below of this. So yes, my sources will be Fox News. It will be the New York Times. So it's not just one source or another. It will be other sources. So dozens fatalities report as wildfires continue. I do believe there's people out there that are causing these wildfires, and I do believe it is Antifa. I do believe it is the anti-fascist movement, which, honestly, can people just ignore the names of these organizations and realize that the organization has nothing to do with the, message of the movement? Yes, anybody can be anti-fascist, but Antifa themselves are a fascist movement. I mean, they dress up in black, hide their face, beat people with different opposing views. Look up Andy Ngo and look up Andy Ngo and his reporting on it. Antifa is a fucking terrorist organization and basically a cancer, and they are a homeland terrorist organization. Even in an extension, I know a lot of my friends are going to be upset about this. A lot of people I know who support this movement. BLM, and I'm mentioning BLM and not Black Lives Matter, because the difference between Black Lives Matter and BLM, Black Lives Matter is a good movement. Yes, Black lives do matter. So do white lives matter. So do Asian lives matter. And I know people get upset when it's oh, now you're mentioning that. And it's no. Because we need to remind you that it's not just Black Lives Matter. It's every lives matter. All lives matter. All right? And I'm so tired of, you're slowly becoming, the thing you've hated. You hate white supremacists, but you're going to indoctrinate, you're going to replace it with black supremacy. It's no. I respect your movement, but you need to just calm down with that. You need to step back and be shit. And again, I criticize the organization of BLM because BLM, I feel doesn't help anybody. BLM and Black Lives, the idea of Black Lives Matter are two separate things. BLM is an organization that is kind of grifting from that, from the so-called anger of, of Black America. I do think that is the case, because it's they don't really care. What if it was a black cop that got? There's a lot of cops that have been who've been killed, businesses that have been killed who happen to be black, but nobody ever mentions it. It's only when they start praising guys like George Floyd, which, by the way, yes, what happened to him was terrible, but you can clearly see from the extended video he was on drugs. That guy who got shot walking to his car, listen, I'm sorry, if the cops are assholes, yes. You should stay calm, get name, badge number, and department, and fight that. But if a cop does give you an order, you have to follow it. Even if it does, you have to listen to the cop. Even if if the situation is bad, I've been stopped by the cops, but I had to listen to the cops. I wasn't fighting them. I was not you're not in the right, all right? I'm sorry, but I'm so tired of people being I was talking to somebody about this, and they were defending that. He was afraid. It's no, he was on drugs. I would be afraid of the cops, but I would listen to the orders too, by the way. So many people, I'm so tired of this shit, I'm just so tired of, nothing, BLM, is not a terrorist, there's nothing wrong with BLM, the organization. There's nothing wrong with Antifa. It's just a fairy tale that Donald Trump is posting up there. No, it's real. It's real. They've been causing terror. And, I'm so tired of my friend, I've gotten to an argument about my friend about this, who actually made fun of me because I worried about Antifa fucking starting shit. And you know what? I was right. It didn't happen then. But it's happening now. And the fact that, yeah, it was fear-mongering in the sense of that time, but it was also in the sense of, being alert. Because Antifa, as an organization, they're not really, I feel like the Army could kick their ass. I feel like a few Navy SEALs could just fucking wipe out an entire army of, skinny to fat, college kids who think Marxism is cool. It's like, no, fuck off. I do think that Antifa is a weak group, but the problem is ignoring it and thinking that, just because they're weak doesn't mean they're not dangerous. They are dangerous. Nice guys are dangerous. They're the worst because they act so nice and so friendly, but they're cowards. They won't stand up for themselves, and they get pissed off at the world. Like, why isn't I've been so nice to women and so nice to everybody that, why can I get this? And it's like, well, because you're a nice guy. Because everybody, you're basically the doormat for everybody. And then one day you turn around and you're punching people in the face. Look, and I'm gonna get to the point here too, because there's some shit out there that's been going wrong recently out there, and I want people to wake up, all right? And yes, this is gonna get political right now, and then I'll make another video later down the road. But this is like one of the reasons why you should vote for Donald Trump. It's because I feel like they're doing all this shit. All this is happening to try to get Trump out of office and point and make him look bad and point to him going, see, he's incompetent. America's burning. America's, everything's bad. It's like, yeah, it's darkest before the dawn. So I suggest I say we keep Donald Trump in office a little longer, because after all, I'd rather not have Sleepy Joe Biden in office. So, all right. So with that being said, yeah, I do think. Tell me what you think. Do you think this is just arson, or do you think this is just climate change, or do you think that this is some separate group, or comment. Tell me what you think about this. Down below in the comments section. I'll put links up of news articles talking about the arson thing. I'll talk to you in another video. Take care, love you, bye bye, and remember to just stay awesome, stay calm, and have a great day. Peace.